Hello and welcome back to Bookish and welcome back to my backyard. Beautiful sunny day, maybe a little too sunny here right at the end of November. Thought I'd give the dogs a chance to show off. I'm not sure if you can see Zelda over there. There she is. But she's just going to sit around. And since it's Tag Tuesday, I want to do a tag. This tag is the Philosophy of Reading tag. It's created by Brandon over Brandon's Bookshelf. He's a kind of a new to me booktuber, but he puts out a lot of interesting content. He's very well spoken, very intelligent, thinks very deeply about his books, and he came up with this original tag, and so I am going to do the tag. And I'm going to encourage all of you to go subscribe to Brandon's channel, and if you're interested in doing the tag, to please do it. It's a really good tag, one of those that would ask you questions about yourself as a reader, not so much about specific books, and I really like tags that do something like that. Please, do the tag. Also, I believe Brandon's offering as a prize. I'm not sure if it's too late. If you do the tag within a certain amount of time, you're eligible to win a copy of, I think, Philosophies, something like that, by Marcus Aurelius. I may be wrong about that, but you can go check out his channel. That's what you should be doing anyway. So there are 20 questions. I'm going to go through them as quickly as possible. There are some points at which, kind of old man rambling is likely to kick in. Not sure I put on my cleanest old man t-shirt, but we'll see how it goes. So I have the prompts here on my phone as always. Question number one, what's most important, a good character, plot, or message? So I would say character then plot for me are most important. Writing would actually be closely tied in there. Some kind of idea, concept, originality, but to be honest with you, I don't care about the message very much. To me, the message of a novel, in particular, we're talking about a work of nonfiction, the message, or the work of fiction, the message of the novel should just be a part of the novel, a part of the plot, a part of the characters, a part of the culture, the setting, whatever it is. And it shouldn't be something I have to be hammered over the head with. It's saying, hey, here's the message, please pay attention. That's kind of off-putting to me. In a work of nonfiction, you can just read the introduction and you can find out what the message of the work of nonfiction is. And so, in nonfiction, the message can be quite a bit more important. Prompt number two, question number two, should one read books about ideas or opinions they disagree with? Of course you should. It's something that I don't probably do often enough, but it is something that people should do so that you can understand the humanity really of the other side. It's quite easy in the world we live in today to assume that everybody on the other side of a political issue of you is just evil and they're just 100% wrong and they're motivated by just greed or whatever it is. And I'm guilty of that kind of thinking as well. But the truth of the matter is, they may have very good reasons for that, or they may have things that to them are very good reasons for feeling that way, or thinking that way, or acting that way, or in my case, since I'm very political, voting that way. And understanding that can only really help kind of bridge gaps that we have created in our society. Question three, as tech advances, what do you think will be the role of books? I think Steve Donahue said, as long as we're including ebooks here, I don't think books are ever going to want to go away. I bet you if you picked 1 out of every 10 people in the United States of America, you would find somebody who wants to write a book, has an idea for a book, is writing a book, wants to write. I don't think books are going to go away because I think there's still going to be enough people who value books and reading to keep them around. Will they be less important in our society? Probably. I think we have a tendency to overestimate how important books were in the past and what percentage of the American population was reading, or the world population that was reading in the past. If we just go back to the Middle Ages, only people who had an education could read Latin or Greek were really reading. And even once the Bible and other books were translated into Vulgate languages, still you're looking at a literacy rate below 10%, probably the population. Zelda didn't like that answer. But anyway, so I don't really think books are going anywhere. And to be honest with you, if tech somehow replaces books, I'll be dead before the books are completely gone, so it won't really make any difference to me. Prompt 4, how important are summaries, review, or art in your book choosing? They're not. There are people here on BookTube whose opinion I respect a great deal, and I will oftentimes pick up books because of their discussion of them or because they read them and they rated them highly. I joke with Mark Nash about this all the time. Every time I watch his video, I find a book I want to go buy. But there are several people on BookTube who are like that for me. Prompt 5, should one ever skim or scan a book? Sure. If you're reading just purely for information and a specific piece of information, I do this all the time. If I'm reading a specific piece of nonfiction for the purpose of getting a piece of information or learning a fact, or finding information I can use in something that I might be writing, I do that all the time. But I would never say that then I'd read that book. I would say that I had used that book for that information. Prompt 6, should reading always be enjoyable? Should reading always be enjoyable? I read a lot of things I don't find enjoyable. I read books about the Holocaust. I don't find that enjoyable. In that sense, it's not enjoyable. If you mean, do I derive some kind of enjoyment out of having read or having learned or having known, or yes, in that sense. And I really don't think we should push ourselves necessarily to read books that we don't enjoy. By the same token, I think we should push ourselves to read books that maybe we don't think we're going to enjoy. Prompt 7. Is it important to be well read? The term well read I don't think has any real value or meaning. I think it's important to read. I think it's important to read widely. But if we start defining what well read is and what it isn't, then you're automatically narrowing what a person should be reading or what you think a person should be reading. So I think it's important to read, and the more widely, broadly you read, the better. But is it important to fit that heading of well read? No. 8, what is your book buying process? I learn about the book. I probably through BookTube, and if BookTubers I like or respect seem to think the book is good, I'll consider getting it, and I usually buy my books through bookshop.org, which is an organization that or a website which allows you to buy books, and some of the money goes to independent bookstores. Anyway, I'll leave a link to it down below. Is it bookshop.org or bookshop.com? Anyway, I'll leave a link to it down below. That's usually how I buy my books. I do occasionally go to used bookstores and buy books, and I do occasionally buy from Amazon if I really want the book right away and it's coming out. And usually if we're ordering something else from Amazon, then I'll add a book to that list. Let's see, prompt 9. What is your reading process? I'm not exactly sure what this means. I sit down, I open the book, and I read. I'm starting to be flippant about it, but I'm not exactly sure what that means. If I'm reading for a buddy read, if I'm reading for the purpose of reviewing the book, I'll have a pad of sticky notes and a pen or a pencil nearby, and I'll make notes about things I may want to talk about in my review or in the buddy read. But that's basically it. I don't really have a process. Prompt 10, how do you use what you read? If I'm reading for a piece of nonfiction writing that I'm doing, then I use what I read as research. I use it as material to support ideas I have, to tell the story I want to tell, something along those lines. I'm not a really, and I'll kind of get to this again in a later prompt, I think, but this whole idea that reading has to be useful really kind of bothers me. I use reading itself as a way, hopefully, to make myself a better person, a more broad-minded person, a more understanding person, a more empathetic person. I use reading for that because I believe that reading does that for me. But other than that, I'm not sure what it means or I'm not sure how I would use what I read. Prompt 11, if you could download a book to your brain, would you still read? I would never download a book to my brain, so yes, I would still read. This whole idea that there's going to be some kind of benevolent force out there which just allows us to download books to our brain without putting other things in there, whether it's just something as benign as advertisement for foot powder or not, I think is ill-conceived. That technology is likely to be funded and paid for through advertising, through some kind of government research or some think tank or some organization. And I don't mean to sound paranoid, but if you're talking about putting something directly into my brain, I'll pass. I would like to have my critical faculties involved in the absorption of that information. Prompt 12, what are your views on rereading a book? I think rereading is great. I don't do it enough, but I think it's great. Prompt 13, what makes a book good? Sorry, I had to look my phone up real close. Something's happening and I can't read it, other than it's getting really hot. What makes a good book good? A book that engages me intellectually and emotionally is a book that's good. And the next prompt I know is what makes a book bad, and it would be a book that fails to do so. One of the things that can cause a book to fail for me in that way is if the writing is distracting and it takes me out of the experience of reading the book. Prompt 16, should the author's personal life matter at all? Personal life, what they do in the privacy of their own home that doesn't involve anybody else, no, it shouldn't matter at all. But I think what this question really means is, should actions that I disagree with that are publicly known or political stances matter? And to me, they do. And as trite as it may sound, I don't want to fund somebody even with $2 of my money whose actions, political opinions, I don't want to support, who I find abhorrent, who I feel like are bigoted in some way. And so I'll just choose not to give them their money. Now, I saw Steve Donahue talk about this, and Steve and I disagree about lots of things, despite the fact that we are, in fact, friends. He and I disagree about lots of things, and I would just say that I'm not telling you that I don't buy books by authors whose political points of view I disagree with and who I find to be bigoted to get you to do it. I'm telling you I don't do it because I don't want to do it. I don't do it because I don't want to do it. It makes me feel bad to support financially somebody whose views or whose actions I feel like are destructive or abhorrent. But, in terms of their private life, well, no, I don't think that should matter at all. But politics is not private, and neither are one's actions taken in the community, neither one's public statements. Prompt 17, if you could only read one genre for the rest of your life, it would be, if we're going to go other than just fiction, I would say biography. Prompt 18, do you ever read a book without knowing anything about it? Yep, I do that all the time. Prompt 19, what author, genre, series, culture could you just not get into it, and why? I'm just going to say Jonathan Franzen. I read the corrections. I tried to read Freedom, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him, and this has nothing to do with, because I really don't know why people don't seem to like Jonathan Franzen the person, but his books just didn't affect me. They just seemed like, they were okay. The last prompt is, do you think everyone should read? And of course, I think everyone should read. Back when I was going to the gym, I used to think everybody should go to the gym, too. I think everybody should vote. I think everybody should vote against, authoritarianism. I think a lot of things that people should do, they're probably not going to do, but certainly reading is one of them. People choose not to read. That's their business, but I wish more people would read, if for no other reason, so we had more BookTube channels and more book conversations. I'm sorry I got out of order. How do you feel about not finishing a book? That's fine. I finish most books that I get past page 50 of. And that's just a personal thing, but it's not like a moral thing. I just have a tendency to do that. I feel like once I've read 50 pages, as slow as I read, I've invested enough time to make it worthwhile to get to the end of the book so I can have a definitive opinion. Anyway, there you go. There's the philosophy of reading tag. Like I said, I'll leave a link to Brandon's original down below. Please go check out his channel and his original video. I look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and thank you for watching. Sorry about the leaf blower.